and welcome to another session of Art at Home. Today we are going to be celebrating Black History Month with a collage project inspired by the great American artist Romare Bearden, who is a really interesting figure and one of the giants of the Harlem Renaissance. Bearden was born in 1911 in North Carolina, and his family was part of the Great Migration, moving north to New York City, where he found a lot of opportunity. He served in World War II, and that was an impetus for a lot of his later art making, where he sought to use collage and painting and all of the expressive tools at his command to bring a little bit more humanity into a hurting world. So I think that's really apt for our time, and we're going to be making a beautiful collage inspired by some of his work. In your bag you have a variety of papers and a canvas and some of my favorite art material, Mod Podge. You will also need a pretty good pair of scissors, and you might want some paper towels. Okay, so Bearden was famous for doing scenes, sometimes from mythology and religion, and sometimes just from everyday life. So I have chosen an everyday life scene that is kind of familiar to us, the Santa Ana winds. I cut out a piece of paper to match my canvas in that sort of sickly purple color when the sky is full of dust and the sun is setting. Now, if this was just a grade school collage, we would use some glue or a glue stick or something, but this is a fine art collage. Bearden's work hangs in some of the greatest museums, and we want this to have a similar polish. So get the Mod Podge all over the canvas. Okay, so very carefully place your background on top of your prepared canvas. Do another layer over it. Whenever you're working with Mod Podge, you always have one layer under and then another layer over. It will look a little milky and translucent at first, but it will dry clear. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this. See how it's hanging over the edge? I'm gonna just cut that later. Every layer you need to put more Mod Podge over it. This is to keep your edges nice and clean. Okay, now I'm gonna have my palm trees. I'm gonna create a kind of rhythm with these elements. Bearden was also a musician, and you can see that in his work, that there is a very distinct rhythm in his patterns and placement. Okay, so now I have a building and 3 palm trees. Then I'm going to look for some greens and browns to create the leaves or the fronds of my palm trees. Now for this part, I'm using a magazine, page from a magazine. We didn't include this in your kit, but I imagine you probably have an old magazine hanging around the house somewhere. Now in Bearden's day, glossy magazines with color photographs were kind of a novelty. And he saw this beautiful paper with this rich photographic material as a great art supply. So he used that in his collages. Okay, so I have some palm fronds that I've cut out of different colors, different shades of green and brown. And go ahead and be creative with the colors and the patterns. It's gonna really make your collage interesting and Bearden-esque. We see it's all kind of going in one direction. Those Santa Ana winds are just kicking up here. Think about something in your collage that illustrates your life, your surroundings. A little bit of troubleshooting here. You see how where it's drying, you're getting a few little bubbles. So watch it while it's drying and then go over it with your fingers. Smooth it out because you don't want any of those ripples. Okay, so I'm gonna put a window or 2 on here. Let's see, my black paper. There we go. And remember, we'll just trim all of this off later. Got one more frond, and this frond fallen victim to the Santa Ana winds. Here we're gonna go. All right, here we are, Santa Ana windscape. When this dries, we'll take another look at it, and I think it's gonna look really cool. And there you have it, the finished product, a Romare Bearden inspired collage, mixed media. You can see a couple places where it's still drying, but for the most part, it's shiny, it's polished, it's clean, it's almost there. You can hang it on your wall, and you can even put it with the piece from 2 weeks ago, the Alma Thomas inspired abstract painting. In honor of Black History Month, 2 examples of art inspired by very important and influential 20th century African American artists. So I hope you enjoyed playing around with the materials this time, learning a little something about art and being creative. Be sure to share your artwork with us, hashtag FCC Art at Home. Show us what you've been doing with these kits, and we will look forward to seeing you next time. Be creative. Bye-bye.